Hi, this is Jerry again. I want to ask you a question. Let's say you're at work, you're working for a company, and you're trying to get promoted. You're working hard to do that. And then you find out it's not what you know or what you do, but who you know to get a promotion. In other words, have you ever watched someone get rewarded for not doing the right thing, but for knowing the right people? Well, welcome to Proverbs 18:5, where God makes it very clear. Partiality isn't justice. It's really corruption in a nice new suit. Let's see if we can break it down. It's not good to accept a person of the wicked. That's what the scripture says. That means don't give special treatment to wrongdoers just because they're rich or they're charming or they're connected. Scripture also says to overthrow the righteous in judgment. Translation to that is when you give a bad guy a pass, the good guy takes a fall. That's not justice. That's injustice. And in a courtroom, that's someone dressed up with a robe and a gramble and just making wrong judgments. Even Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Justice is more than a courtroom term. It starts out in our homes, in our churches, in our schools, in our daily lives, and our daily choices. Everything we look at, when we look the other way or excuse bad behavior because it's one of our guys or one of our family members, we're choosing favoritism over fairness. Imagine, if you will, a man who owns a small business. He has two employees. One is his nephew, a hard worker, and an outsider. Now, the outsider shows up early, works hard, treats customers with respect. The nephew, on the other hand, comes in late, goofs off, never speaks politely to the customers. But when customers start to complain, the father kind of brushes it off and he says, well, that's his nature. He's family. Sooner or later, the outsider, the other kid, gets fed up and he quits. Customers begin to leave also, tired of the poor service. And the business starts to struggle and fails. And the legacy of that father, hoped to be able to pass it down one day, is completely crumbled. That's how legacy gets broken. Look, if you're always siding with the wicked, maybe it's not justice you're practicing. Maybe it's just like networking. Remember, if you're going to play favorites, make sure that God is one of your favorites. Who are you standing up for? And who are you quietly pushing down? It's like if a teacher notices that one student is always getting into trouble, it kind of reminds the teacher of her own son. So when he acts up, the teacher kind of excuses him and just says he's having a bad day now. It'll pass. But another student who's quiet, he's respectful most of the days, but one day he snaps for being provoked. And the teacher comes down on him hard. No grace, no second chance. It's off to the principal's office. Well, what just happened here? She stood up for one because of emotional bias. And she pushed the others down, or the other down, by not giving him the same compassion. Justice doesn't wear a blindfold because she's clueless. She wears it because truth doesn't care about status, popularity, or who's sitting in the front row at church. What kind of judgment are you handing out when nobody is watching? This verse is going to be on the screen. Read it out loud if you can. Have a great day.